is up, you guys? My name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, hello, welcome. So I posted on my Instagram at Basic M Plants to ask me anything, whether it be plant related or not, and I got a couple questions, and so I thought that I would answer them by doing a short little video. So the first question I got was, how long have I been collecting plants? And I don't know the exact date, but I did find today, like, the first houseplant I ever got was like this little aloe, and I got it sometime in March. Like, the picture was from like March 24th, I think. So just about a year, a little over a year is how long I've been collecting plants, which isn't that long. And the second question I got was, what are some good houseplants for beginners? So I am by no means an expert or anything, but these are plants that I had bought based off of recommendations from other people on YouTube, like Planterina, HarliG, DeLaPlants, and who was another really good one that I had watched? There's a lot of really great plant YouTubers. Oh, Pileggi. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but these four in particular are ones that have done like low maintenance plants videos that are good for beginners, give you really in-depth care and stuff. That I found there's a lot of really great YouTubers on, like, for plants, like on plants, on YouTube. These are just like the four that I know that when I first started really getting into plants, those were the four that I gravitated to a lot, and I found so much more since then that are just as informational and just as awesome, and I'll link some of those down below for you. So let's get started. So the first, like, low maintenance plant. So the first plant that comes to my mind is a snake plant. There's a bunch of different varieties of snake plant. This is a Laurentii. I don't know, but I know it's just a yellow edged snake plant that grows like vertically. They're beautiful. They're so easy. Snake plants have a very succulent type leaves, so they don't need to be watered very often, and they can tolerate low light. That doesn't mean no light, but it means that they can survive off of minimal light. It doesn't mean that they're going to like be popping out babies everywhere and be thriving, but they can survive and maintain a life in low light. So this is one variety of snake plant that I have, and if this doesn't suit your fancy, I have a couple more. This is a starfish snake plant, or Sansevieria, that's like the botanical name. They actually got reclassified as Dracaena, which is what I learned on Pileggi's channel, but I'm so used to calling it Sansevieria that that's what I'm gonna call it, or snake plant. So yeah, this is this guy. They're super cool. They grow out like little swords, and then it actually has a baby back here, which has grown so stinking much in, like, I want to say like 4 weeks. I should have like taken pictures of it, but yeah, it's grown so much. It is so cool. This is one of my personal favorites. I absolutely love this one. And then here is a bird's nest snake plant. So it just has a different growth pattern. Here's how their babies pop out. This is the baby on it. This whole big guy right here. And yeah, you can eventually like separate these babies too, as long as they have enough roots, and make a new plant. So there's this one, and then I actually have one more. Hold on. This snake plant. It's very similar to this guy. It just doesn't have any of the yellow edging. I think this one's called a black coral. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it's called. It's just another variety of snake plant. So these are all my snake plants. This one's my favorite by far. I absolutely adore this one. It's so cool. They're all super low maintenance, can all tolerate low light, and very minimal water. They need water, but you definitely don't want to overwater them. I water mine during the summer once every 2 weeks, because they're sitting, all of them are 6+ feet away from a southwest east window, so they're not getting a lot of direct sun, but they're getting a lot of ambient sun, so I don't water them that frequently at all. So the next houseplant that is great for beginners and people who want to get into it is a Zizi plant. Look at how beautiful. So Zizi plants are absolutely gorgeous. They have these wonderful, just dark green foliage. They're so shiny. Mine is dusty. Guilty as charged. But they shoot out these beautiful, like, lime green new shoots of growth. They are just so cool. And they're super low maintenance. I water my Zizis maybe once every 4 to 6 weeks because they're sitting at some of the furthest spots away from my window. So they don't need a lot of water. This could be okay with more sun. It would probably like to have more sun, but I mean, it's putting out offshoots like crazy. They're not the biggest offshoots in the world, but they are an offshoot nonetheless. So yeah, I have several of just the green variety, which is this guy, and then I have one that is a Raven ZZ. So this guy is actually black. How stinking cool. So this one comes out lime green and eventually will turn black on its leaves. I don't know if you can see very well, but see how it's like darker around the edges and throughout the veining? It's because like it's slowly transitioning to turning black. I've only watered this once since I got it, and I got it about a month ago. And I watered it just to get it like in the soil. So yeah, that's it. I love ZZs. They're super easy. You can find them all over the place. They're really easy to get your hands on, and they don't require a lot of water or a lot of sun. All right, so the next houseplant for beginners that I can think of, and I'll show you the varieties that I have, is a Pothos. So here is a golden Pothos. It has these beautiful gold variegation on it, like yellow variegation. This guy is so stinking easy. It communicates with you when it needs to be watered. It'll wilt when it needs to be watered. It can survive in low light and high light and medium light, literally almost any light condition that you give it, it'll be fine. And it doesn't need a whole lot of care, which is awesome. So yeah, and you can find these all over the place too, and they're fairly inexpensive. Like, I think 6-inch hanging baskets will maybe cost you 20 bucks, like max. Most places like big box stores and stuff. And I know online right now you can find them on like Etsy and stuff to support local, support small business in this time that we're going through right now. And then another variety that I own is a neon pothos, which is just as easy and absolutely stunning. Look at that. A neon foliage. It's so pretty. It's leaning completely this way because I have it on like a bookshelf on my wall. So this side's always on the wall and this side points out. So yeah, if you want your plants to grow more evenly, rotate them, but I don't really care that much about that, just because I'm like, whatever, it's fine. They need more light, so they're just pointing themselves towards the light. But I absolutely love this guy. Same thing. It wilts when it needs water. It doesn't need a lot of love and care. It pretty much just does its own thing. I water these as I see them wilt, so there's not an actual like schedule to a lot of them. My next plant, which I only have one of, is a Argyris Pictus, and this is an Argyris. It is beautiful. It's very much like a Pothos in the fact that it will communicate with you when it needs to be watered. It'll like, its leaves will wrinkle in like this when it needs to be watered and curl in. I actually just watered it yesterday, so it doesn't need any, but they're just absolutely gorgeous, and they come in so many different varieties, and it's definitely a prolific grower. Like, this is one of its newest leaves. This one just unfurled, came out a little bit hurt, but that's okay. It has this new growth back here and this new growth right here. It's super prolific. It can also survive in low, medium light and do just fine. Like, this one's definitely in low light now, and it was in medium light, so I'm just trying to see how it does. It used to be in my hallway, but I moved it onto my bookshelf, so we'll see how it does. Everything is trial and error, which is okay. Yeah, really easy plant. Not super easy to get your hands on, at least where I live, but online they are really reasonably priced a lot of the time. You just kind of got to do your research and do some vetting of some people that are going to overcharge you. So yeah, I love this plant. Okay, so The last really awesome houseplant that I think for beginners is an Arrowhead plant. So sometimes you'll see these called like the butterfly vine, but I love them. This used to be about half the size. I got this less than a year ago, and look at it. It's just so beautiful. I love this guy. Again, super low maintenance, can live in low light. I think it prefers, though, at least where I live, medium light in order to really shoot out babies and stuff and to shoot out new leaves. Watering varies, but it will talk to you. This guy wilts like crazy when it needs water. Like, you see how these are pretty upright right now? They'll just completely go down. They won't bounce back up. They won't do any of that. They will just completely be limp. And it will like perk back up in a couple hours to the next day, I'd say, based on how long you let it dry out. Definitely let these guys dry out because they will get root rot really easily, along with Pothos. They will rot pretty easily. So definitely let them dry out. Let them dry out a little excessively if the wilting doesn't bug you that much. So yeah, and just look at that foliage. It's just so pretty. And you can find these a lot of places too. They're pretty readily available and not hard to come by, which is awesome. And they come in so many different colors. There's like a pink version of this, there's a splashed version of it, there's like a berry color where it's like this really deep magenta. Like, there's so many different varieties of this that they're so amazing. And I have a second variety here, which this one is hard to come by and is a bit expensive, but it is the Albo Variegated Syngonium. So it's just really pretty. This one isn't as easy to care for. It's not as expressive in my environment as what I've found, but I try. This leaf has been pregnant since I got it in February, and it still hasn't done anything. It hasn't lost any leaves, but I haven't gained any leaves. So although it is beautiful, a little bit of a bummer just kind of watching it do its thing, but at least I get to enjoy this beautiful foliage. Arrowheads are so cool because there's so many varieties and they're pretty low maintenance plants. So yeah, so just to recap, my first suggested plant for a houseplant for a beginner is definitely a snake plant. They're just so aesthetically beautiful and super easy to care for. My next recommendation is a Zizi Plant. Same deal, super easy to care for, really low maintenance. Pretty much ignore it and it'll do just fine. Love it. My next recommendation is going to be a Pothos plant if you want a trailing plant to kind of hang down shelves and stuff and eventually grow that way. Absolutely beautiful, super low maintenance. My next is Argyris Pictus if you want the same effect. These are also trailing and super low maintenance and easy to take care of. And my last one is going to be an Arrowhead plant. Beautiful, super easy, absolutely stunning foliage. So yeah, because I am a tiny YouTuber and most of my friends are the only ones that really follow me on Instagram, I only got asked those 2 questions. So that's it for today. So I hope you found some of this informational and helpful for you. My hope for my channel is that it's a safe place for people to come and get an interest in plants, because I remember a couple years ago I was gifted a succulent and I was like, why did you gift me this? I don't know anything about plants, and it died. And now here I am with a bunch of houseplants that are doing, I think, okay. They're at least living and putting out some new growth here and there, but I'm keeping them alive. So if I can do it, you can do it. So I hope that this channel helps like foster that interest if you have it. And yeah, so if you liked today's video, please subscribe, press that thumbs up like button if you like the content that you saw today, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think, letting me know if you want to buy any of these plants, any questions that you have, and yeah, so I will see you guys next time. Bye!